All right, today is December 8th, 2025, and this is my review. I think we did pretty good. Pretty solid performance here, up 18 ticks overall, which is a record day for this account. I had 9 trades in total below my 10 trade allowance, or goal, I should say. Average win was 3.4 ticks, average loss was 3 ticks. So 77, I'll call that 78% win rate um, with positive risk reward. So pretty exceptional. Um, Only had 2 losing trades, and they were pretty well managed. I think we'll come to see in the trades that my losses were, some of them were avoidable. Like I was pretty close to having a 100% win rate day today. But they were also fairly valid trades. At no point did I really fly off the handle, per se. Um, Pretty happy with those stats, honestly. So, let's jump into trades, but first I gotta import my session here. All right. So, trade number 1 is a 3-tick profit to the long side. Let's go ahead and watch it here. Took it off for 3 ticks. So yeah, pretty quick long there. I was having some technical issues this morning. There was a trade I tried to take prior to this um, that couldn't execute. Like my broker was having issues. So it took me a couple minutes to get that figured out. But once I was confident, I placed this trade at around 9:45. So 15 minutes after the open. I am really proud of myself that I waited. The price action after the open was very sporadic and random. Um, so for trade number 1, this is pretty good. Um, I had an ATR candle fade. Um, and this was actually a breakout. There was a level above me. It looks like 80 even that we were trying to break out of. I'll call this a B setup. It's pretty good because we have a reclaim below acting as support. We had an area of interest, or I'll call it support resistance area. We had stop run potential. We had downtrended the entire morning. It would have been nice if we could blast through that. We had strong tape. And I'll call that range favor because I did have a. No, I won't call that range favor because there's not a definitive range. As far as the convergences go, I had 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll call that a CV4, 4 convergences. Entry good and exit good. I'm glad I got out of it for 3 ticks. Let's fast forward a little bit and see if I could have gotten more. No, maybe I could have, but realistically, holding through that is a little much. This was a pretty conservative scalp with slip favor, right? Yeah, I would call that slip favor for sure. Clear, calm, content, and patient. Although I am going to change my calm tag to maybe because in hindsight, my heart rate is pretty high here, especially since I'm having technical issues. So, trade number 1, that'll be a green star. All right. Trade number 2 is a 5-tick profit to the long side. Let's watch the replay. I'm going to try the long if we can put in a support here. Looks like we are. I'm going to try 74.75 long. Took the 5 ticks. Ooh, that's a high heart rate. So, 133. My heart rate was extremely high today. That's not good. But it was a good trade. It's actually very, very similar to the last one. If we look back at the last trade setup, we had a really nice reclaim putting in support into an area of resistance. So it's kind of a range, but it's a very invalidated range. On the first trade, you can see here, there's a range between 77 and 79. So roughly a 2-point range, but it's been breached to the downside. However, the top side is still unbreached, and there's a very nice support resistance area setting up there. So instead of trading the breakout to the long side, I'm waiting for the pullback to the range lows at 77. Similar in trade 2, we can see that there's a kind of a slip range between 74 and 76. So again, a 2-point range. Nice support resistance area at the top near 77. I am trading long into the lows, mean favor into that level. So I think that's what the saving grace was today, is I wasn't trading on the breakout. Instead, I was trading the range before the breakout and using that breakout as a kind of a magnet, because breakouts were failing today. Breakouts were failing everywhere today. Had I been trading those breakouts, I think I would be red on the day. But instead, I was trading mean reversion into the breakouts. So, did I have an ATR candle here? I don't think I did. I don't see any. So no ATR candle. This was just a very basic, at least I don't think so. Could that be one right there? I don't think so. This is just a mean reversion. So mean reversion, I'll call it a C setup. We had a support resistance area. We had a 3-factor convergence, so a CV3 tag. What else did we have? V-flush and reclaim favor. Order blocks, nothing crazy, maybe just small ones. I'll take it as small order blocks, and I'll put the multiple factors of support tag on there. Speaking of which, did I have order blocks on the other trade? No, I did not. Yeah, I think that's about it. Maybe calm, because my heart rate was very high on this trade. 130 beats per minute is extremely high. And that was a trend throughout the whole day. Today was, I don't know why. It might be bad sleep. Could be the 2 cups of coffee I drank. My heart rate was just very high throughout the entire session. However, I was content and I was patient. This will be a green star. I better screenshot this real quick. Just do a quick one. Oops. This up real quick. I'm just typing here, price may not want to go through that resistance level, but it's attracted to it. It wants to test it. So if I have an opportunity to catch the price up to that test, then why not take it? Okay. So let's paste that in there. I just want good examples of these kinds of trades moving forward. So yeah, the trade 2 will obviously be a green star. All right, trade number 3 is a 4-tick profit to the long side. Let's listen to the replay. Back it up a little bit.
There's more support above or above us on the 32nd. It's like 3 or 4 or some shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna try the long 76.25. Take it for the point. Very, very easy trade there. It's easy, but my heart rate is still high. I'm not sure why that was today. But anyways, very good technical setup. Again, it's just basically a breakout into a highly significant area, but I'm waiting for a pullback. I'm waiting for that slip favor, which was so important today. So, breakout. I don't think I had any ATR candles, which is fine. I did have a very clear support resistance area. I had reclaim favor. Still had that V flush working for us. And I'm going to call that compression. It is compressing into that level pretty nicely. No order blocks. And yeah, I'll call that good enough. I'll call that multiple factors of support. Entry was good. I have exit early tagged. I think I could have held this just a little bit longer. Let's fast forward and see. Not really, actually. I could have got maybe 6 ticks out of it. So I'm going to change that to exit good. I think the exit taking a point profit there was a good call. This was a little bit more on the aggressive side, which is fine. Aggressive scalp. I think aggressive is warranted, especially since I was trading pretty good at this point. Setup quality, I'll call it a B. I like that we're compressing. I wish I got a little bit more of a pullback. That's why it's aggressive. If there was a bigger pullback, it would have been. I would have tagged this as conservative. But it is what it is. Yes, content, and yes, patient. I think I did pretty good with emotions on this tag, but heart rate still 120 beats per minute, pretty high. So I'll put maybe calm on that. And this will be a green star. All right. Trade number 4 is a 2-tick loss to the long side. Let's listen to the recording.
It's gonna go long. I really don't know if that technique's working, but there's a shitload above us.
Yeah.
I pulse check a short. I don't know if I'd get it filled on it though. That's the problem.
So we'll let this keep playing on there. All right. What went wrong there is that I didn't wait for a good enough pullback. This again is a very, very similar setup to the first 2 trades. Trade 1, trade 2. We have a clear resistance area above us that price wants to jump up into. And we have a clear support below us. This one's a little tighter. It's like 6 ticks instead of 8 ticks. Actually, the other ones were even wider than 8 ticks. So problem number 1, this one's too tight. I think trading a very tight range like this is pretty risky because it could blow out either direction pretty hard, which means the certainty isn't as high. Problem number 2 is I'm not waiting for a pullback. I went long at the very top of that range, waiting for the breakout. I thought it was going to break out right there, but then it doesn't. It comes back on me. If I had waited for a pullback, I like to be on the right side of the V with pullbacks. I like to wait for it to pull back, show signs of reversing, and then I'll go long. This one never did. So had I waited for the appropriate pullback, I never would have taken this trade. I would have not taken 2 ticks loss. And my already good win rate today would have been much higher with this unavoidable loss, with this easily avoidable loss, I should say. So slip against clarity. I'm going to say I did feel really clear about this setup. So I'm going to tag clear. I was clear, maybe calm because my heart rate is pretty spiked right now, 116 beats per minute. But I am content, and I was pretty patient waiting for this. This is almost 10 minutes after my last trade. This was an ATR candle, right? Did I have an ATR candle there? No, I didn't. Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay, ATR candle fade, breakout, setup quality. I'm going to say C. It is still a decent setup, but not good enough for me to be as aggressive on it. Aggressive scalp. I put entry late because had I gone long on that original pullback, it would have been good. It did offer a pullback earlier. I'm actually going to change this to entry early because I should be grading the trade that I took, and the trade that I took was a breakout right at the high of a range, which is early. I should not be entering a trade that early. However, my exit was good. I got out of it very quick. We had support resistance level. We had compression. I did have one order block above me, but that's kind of it. This was I have this marked as a 4, CV4, and it is. So I had 4 levels of convergence here, which is a pretty heavy level. And I'm going to tag range against. Range against and price action too tight. It's very tight here. And yeah, I'm gonna red star this one. I don't think I should have taken it. I don't think it's a good setup. All right. Trade number 5 is a 1 tick profit to the short side. So all my trades have been long so far, which is ironic because I'm fighting a downtrend. We're in a pretty consistent downtrend at this point. I've always been good at that. I've always been good at counter trend trading. But interesting to note, regardless. Let's listen to the replay real quick. Try the shimmy back short, 73.50. Take it for the point if it'll give it to me. I'm trying to work an exit here. Yeah, I remember this one. It gave me a partial exit. So I should have a 1 point of profit here. Because it does touch my exit multiple times. So I get short 73.50 and I'm trying to take profit at 72.50 and it touches my exit multiple times, but it only fills me partially. So the trade worked for the point. It was a very good setup. But then it just starts grinding against me and I can't get the fill and there's a nasty reclaim above me and I don't want it to go against me. So I take it off. Had I waited a little longer, it would have given me the full point, but I didn't like the risk. There was a lot of backside risk on this trade. This was a breakout with an ATR candle continuation. Let me just confirm that. Yes, it did have continuation to it. I'm going to tag it as partial. Convergences, I need to back up to the time of entry. So convergences, I had 1, 2, 3. I'm going to call this a 3. There might be a 4th one, but it's too far away. And as far as breakouts go, this is, I'd probably call this a B setup. It's pretty good. We've got compression. We've got reclaim. Pretty strong tape, it looks like. Order blocks, I think we had, did we have any order blocks? No. No, nothing significant down there. Trend favor. And I'll put support resistance area because it has tested this area a few times. Factors of support. I have this tagged as entry early. Is it really an early entry? I don't think it is. I actually think it's a really good entry. I'm going to say entry good. Entry good, exit good, although it was a partial, which is no fault of my own. It is an aggressive scalp because I'm trading the breakout, and the pullback was very shallow. I had a mistake tag on there, but I'm taking it off because I really don't see any mistakes here. This was a pretty solid trade. Maybe I'll put the too tight, price action too tight tag on here because it is really tight. I should be waiting for it to loosen up a little bit. I'm going to put slip mid because it's not exactly against, but it's not exactly favor either. Clarity, I was clear. The breakout did work. I was very clear about this. Maybe calm. My heart rate was pretty high. I'm going to say yes, content, because I was content with taking it off for 1 tick profit. And I'll say yes, patient, because I waited for this setup. I waited for the short signal. I'm going to green star it. I thought when I tagged this trade in live time, I thought this was going to be a bad trade. But looking at it, I really do think this was a good setup, and it was worth a try. Could have been a little looser. It was kind of too tight for me, but either way, you know, sometimes you have to trade tight environments. So I definitely don't hate this trade. All right. Trade number 6 is a 4-tick loss to the long side. Watch the replay. I'll take a shimmy back if it would give it to me.
I figured they would jam through there a lot better than what they did. That would be coming back through me. So, I mean, it's not worth shit.
Yeah, that guy makes a pretty good point. That did come back really hard. I essentially, same problem as last time. I got long on the breakout. That was punishing me today. So let's tag that as such. That was a slip against, aggressive scalp, breakout, ATR fade, and I count that as a 3-factor convergence. Oh, but it's so hard to tell because of the coloring of the lines. Maybe calm, yes content, yes patient. I had strong tape, reclaim, and I think that's it. I am trend against. I'm very clearly trend against at this point. Entry early, exit good. I think getting out of it for 4 ticks was pretty conservative. So yeah, I think the problem with this one is pretty self-explanatory. Just a little too aggressive, a little too early, and I'm not waiting for a pullback like a slip entry. I'm taking the breakout instead. So this will be a red star trade. Trade number 7 is a 4-tick profit to the short side. Let's listen to the replay. Bit of a spoof here from 272. I think I've got a 3-factor here, 2 of them on the 32nd. Picked up a point on that. Then there's the fill. Very, very simple trade. Which reminds me, I need to add an old tag that I had, spoof. Where's the original spoof tag? There it is. So I'm gonna put that under setup. The spoof isn't a setup itself, but it's an entry technique, and that one netted me pretty good results. Let's tag it. ATR candle fade or continuation with a spoof entry. I had good momentum to the downside. Trend favor. I tagged this as stop run. I'm going to take that tag off because I don't see what the stop run is. That might have been a miss tag. Strong tape. I will put on the channel tag because we are channeling to the downside. I like to distinguish between channel and compression. This is pretty clearly a channel. I had a 3-factor below me. I'm gonna call this an A setup because this is exactly what I want with a momentum trade. So A, momentum, entry good, exit good. just want to fast forward and see if I could have held that longer. Maybe a few more ticks, but I'm not going to tag it as exit early. Pretty. Actually, I'm going to call that conservative. I think the momentum is so strong that this is a conservative trade. Maybe calm, yes content, yes patient. Maybe because my heart rate is still elevated. This will be a green star, obviously. Trade number 8. 4-tick profit to the long side. Let's watch the replay.
Picked up several ticks. I don't know how many.
I
How
took a
long?
shimmy back. 70.25.
853 on that trade.
Trying to work an exit here at 71.50. I won't be greedy. I took it for a point. So tried to get 6 ticks out of that one, but it didn't quite look like it wanted to give it to me. In hindsight, though, had I stayed in it, I would have got it. So, as tempted as I am to put early exit on that, I think it's good that I get out of trades quick like that. So, I won't tag it as such. Let me back the video up so I can see the convergences. 1, 2, 3. I'll call that a 4 factor. 4 factor. I'm trading into the level, which is technically a breakout. So I'm going to change this from momentum to breakout, but I did have slip favor. I waited for it to pull back to fill my entry. We had very strong tape. We had a V flush working for us. We had good stop run potential. We had a bunch of order blocks above us. Not really, but I'll tag small order block tag. And multiple factors of support. So pretty good trade here. Entry good, exit good. I did a really good job of working that exit. I did not want to. I didn't want to be 6 ticks in profit and then give it all back. I would rather not be greedy and take just whatever profit it'll give me at the time. So I'll green star this one. Maybe calm, yes content, and yes patient. Trade number 9 is a 3-tick profit to the short side. This is my last trade of the day. Let's listen to the replay. Looks like we'll push lower. Bit of a spoof here. I'm going to try the short. So this one pulls back on me quite a bit. Pulls back 5 ticks against my entry. So the entry was definitely early. Let's see if I can suck back in.
I could see a short. Not yet, though.
Took it out for 3 ticks. I think that's good enough. I also think I'm going to... So I take it out for 3 ticks, profit. Let's see if I could have held it. Maybe. I could have got maybe 5 ticks out of it, but it would have been really tough. So I'm going to call that a good exit. However, my entry was early. Maybe calm. Yes, content. Yes, patient. This was more of an aggressive scalp. I'm trying to trade the breakout of a micro range. And this said micro range has a 1, 2, 4 factors of support. ATR candle, yes. I'm going to call that an ATR candle fade with a spoof entry. Momentum or breakout? I'm going to call this a breakout trade. And I'm going to classify it as a C setup. I don't think it was great. Factors of support, I definitely had trend favor. We had a support resistance area that we bounced off of above. So we rejected the resistance area, and now we're heading down into a support area where I hope it's going to break. We do have one large order block below us. And that's kind of it. I don't see a whole lot else, which is fine. Definitely had slip favor, and I was clear on this setup just early. And green star. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're sitting. So that's my trading day. Let's jump into daily report card. My single long-term goal is to aim for 5 trades a day, but never more than 10. And I did that today. I had 9 executions. I also did a good job of respecting some of my prior long-term goals, which was to never attempt an idea more than twice. And I'm reviewing today, which is another one of my goals for the month of December. So with those 3 things in mind, I'm going to give myself an A+ today. The A+ is really because I did such a good job of, managing my trades today. Also just, practicing patience. I don't think I had a single trade that was within a couple minutes of each other. They were all evenly spread. At no point did I become obsessed with an idea. I was very versatile and diverse with my trade ideas today. Just trying to keep an open mind and adapting. I adapted quick. Which brings me to the things I did good. I think number 1 would be adapting to the market. It became pretty clear early on that breakouts weren't working, and I knew that because of my pulse checks, which are mental trades. I took multiple pulse checks, and they were usually on breakout trades, and they weren't working. So the breakouts that did work, I didn't want to chase them. I think chasing hurts way more than being early in this sort of environment. I would rather be early and lose rather than be late and lose, because if you're late to a move and it pulls back on you, it could just blow you out entirely. Where if you're early and you have good trade location, if you're wrong, you can usually work an exit for a small loss, which is exactly what I did today. 2 tick loss and a 4 tick loss. Those are my only losing trades. So adapting to the market is a big one. I think, that's the importance of taking mental trades. That's the importance of staying focused and making sure that you're paying attention to the price action and that you're not just on autopilot. I mean, one of the problems with all these systematic traders and having these systems in general is that your brain just kind of goes on autopilot, which is it's a good thing in a sense, but it can also be a bad thing because you're not adapting. The market, especially trading ES like I am, it's just such a wacky market, and it's changing minute by minute. Like no 2 candles are the exact same in ES. You really have to pay attention to what's going on and adapt and change your system as you go. I think the last couple weeks, last couple months, really, I've been trying to over systematize, which the benefit of systematizing is it takes the emotion out of it and it feels better. It feels good to trade a system because it's like win or lose, it doesn't really affect you because it's the nature of your system. But if there's anything I've learned trading ES is that sometimes it enters these month-long phases where it just completely disrespects your system, no matter how good it is, no matter how far you've backtested it, no matter like how many how much data you have on that system. ES, especially as a retail trader, ES will eventually find a way to break that system. So while there are certain parts of my trading that need to be systematized, I think it has to also be very fluid. And today was so fluid. I don't think there was very much systematic about my trading today. I think it was all pretty subjective and pretty discretionary. I had to make changes in the moment. And I had to try things, I had to try these trades that I wasn't completely certain were going to work, but that I knew according to the precedence of the price action at least had a decent likelihood of working. And that's why it's so hard to be a discretionary trader, is because you're doing these subconscious calculations in your head, like what's the rough win rate of this, what's the rough risk reward of it, and the end game, the long-term goal is that that becomes subconscious, and then I don't have to think about it anymore, and my mind can just do those calculations automatically. And I think today I made good progress towards being that kind of a trader. The things I need to improve on, not much really. I think that trade, what was it? Trade 4 was an unnecessary loss because I was too aggressive. Actually, a lot of my trades were aggressive today. That might be the biggest thing to improve on, is just be a little bit more conservative. If being conservative means that I have fewer winners, so be it, because it's preventing me from taking big losses. I was very lucky that trade number 4 was only a 2-tick loss, because looking at the setup, it could have blown me out for 2 points. You know, it could have really, really came back on me. So I'm lucky in that sense. And then just getting my heart rate down. I don't know. I don't really know what was up today with my heart rate. In weeks past, my heart rate has been very good. I think like on Friday, I was at a very steady 80, 90 beats per minute. But today I was never below 100. I was like 110, 120 pretty much the entire session. I did do a Wim Hof breath at one point during the session. I muted my mic and I did a lot of really fast hyperventilation style breaths. And it did lower my heart rate a little bit, but I still think there's more I could be doing. Maybe, you know, doing some very mild exercises before the session just to get my heart rate elevated, and then let my heart rate come back down throughout the session. Drink more water, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I had something. I did have a pretty salty breakfast, so maybe just lighter breakfasts like yogurt or something like that. Just trying to get that heart rate down. I also don't think my sleep was great last night. That might be something worth focusing on. Also, whatever I'm doing before I trade, I should be like before I traded today, I was just kind of doing some mindless brain rot kind of activities. I would like to focus on, you know, either catching up on sleep, which isn't a bad thing, or, you know, doing something that's a little bit more mentally engaging, but not overly strenuous either. Which is kind of a fine line to play, and I don't really know what would fall under that category. Maybe reading. I could do some, you know, some focused reading before the market or something like that. Either way, something for me to worry about later, because despite my high heart rate, I did perform very well today. But having a high heart rate also opens you up to the risk of tilt. So while I did a good job of avoiding that today, it does increase the risk of me going on tilt. Easiest trade would probably be, where was my A plus? Was it? I think it was trade number 7. 7 wasn't A plus, but it was A, which is close enough. Trade number 7, 12-second hold time. Oh, and it just immediately went in my favor, pretty much. I got the good shimmy back entry with the spoofing. Did I eat any drawdown on this? No. Yeah, 0 ticks MAE. So it didn't come back on me a single tick. Worked instantly. And I had good factors of support. We had good downtrend. We had a good compression. We had a good pullback. It kind of had everything you'd want as far as a momentum trade goes, which I think as I progress down this path, I'm realizing more and more that I am a momentum trader. I perform really well in, there's kind of a sweet spot. If it's a straight trend day, I can't really perform. But a day like today, it's like a trend chop is what I'll call it. Like it's grinding in one direction. I can really perform on a day like that. So excellent price action. And that's pretty much it. I don't have much else to report on. Good session. Last 2 sessions have been really smooth, and I hope I can stay on that track and produce some more good results